Hi, in this video I'll be teaching you how to create a property search website using HTML, jQuery UI, jQuery itself, and also JSON Data. So for example, let's just show you how it works. So minimum bedrooms, so 2, and maximum I'll have it as 8. We can choose between flat, house, or any. I want to have any for now, and time added, I'll also have it as any. And we can also have a price range. As you can see, it changes through here. We can have a minimum price and a maximum price. If I click search, we are presented here with the search results. And so for example, if I only want to see the flats, and I'll click search, we are only presented with the flats. And again, if I want maybe less bedrooms, so 2 to 3, we have a 2 bedroom property. For example, if I want it from, let's do 4 to 6, and we want it a house, this property comes up. So here the price, the picture, and description is all displayed through JSON Data. This is not hard coded. And we also have a link under each of the properties. So for example, let me just do any. I'll click on search. As you can see, we have a visit page button under each of them, and when you click on them, it will direct you to the page. So just to show you quickly our JSON data, here is our JSON data we have, and we've used this to create a property search website. And as I said, all the data inside was hard coded. So if you would like to see how this was done, then please watch on. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to download the jQuery UI library. So what I've done is I've just downloaded the latest jQuery UI library, which is the 1.12. So I've just downloaded it, and if I just go here, these are what we have so far. Okay, so I'm just going to do now, I'm going to go inside my document. I'm just going to create a new folder. This is where all our work will be. I'm just going to rename it. I'm just going to rename it Find the Property. So that will be the name of our website or document. Okay, I'm just going to open this up. Just going to drag this to a new window, just like so. Okay, and now inside here, I'm just going to drag all this. I'm just going to put it inside here, just like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to go inside the images folder. I'm just going to delete all of these because we're not planning to use any icon images, so I'm just going to delete these. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. As you can see with these, the most important files are the jQuery UI.css and the jQuery UI.js. These are the two files which we will need to link in our HTML document. I'm just going to go ahead and now create a new HTML document. I'm going to be using Dreamweaver. However, it's up to you what document you want to use. I'm just going to create a new HTML document. Okay. Now for the title, I'm just going to name it Find a Property. Okay. And now inside the head, I'm just going to link those two important files which I mentioned. Okay, so one of them was a JS file. So I'm going to do script src equals. And again, if you're working with something like Dreamweaver, what you could do is just go browse, just go to your documents, and you can just find the file. So it's jQuery UI.js. Just click open. Okay, just like that. However, I'm going to remove this. I'm just going to keep it just like that. Okay, I'm just going to close the script tag. The other important was the CSS. So with CSS, we do link href equals. I'm going to write it down this time. So jQuery and then we do rel is style sheet, just like that. Just close that. Okay, so now we have the two important ones. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another jQuery UI library. This is just a theme that I want to incorporate. It's up to you what kind of theme you would like to use. How I'm going to be using the UI lightness. Okay, just if I can remember the link. So it's http. I'm going to do code.jquery.com/UI. The version I'm going to do it for is 1.10.4. Quite an old version. What I'm going to use. So UI lightness jQuery-UI.css and row is style sheet. Okay. So now this is all the jQuery UI elements that we need, and now what we also need is a jQuery library itself. So we would need this to, obviously when it comes to searching the data, we need to use jQuery itself. I'm just going to go ahead and get the library for jQuery. So I just got it from W3 Schools. I'm just going to copy this. Again, we'll use the latest version as well, 1.12.4. I'm just going to put this at the top here. Sometimes it does make a difference where you place your links. I'm just going to close the script tag. Okay, just like that. So I'm just going to save this. So I'm going to save it inside here. I'm just going to call it find the property.html. Just going to go inside here. I'm just going to click save. Okay, so as you can see with Dreamweaver, as soon as I saved it, we have here the jQuery UI.js and the CSS, and we also have two extras. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do a bit of testing. So I'm gonna let's do find a property, just a title to see if everything's working fine. I'm just gonna save it. Okay, there's our file. Just gonna open it with Chrome. Okay, and there we have it. So now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to open the images folder, and I'm just going to put here now all the images for our properties. So here I have the images. I have a total of 7 properties, and I have a big version, so a large image, and I have a small version, a small image. So again, I have a large version and a small version. So the large version, I've called them property 1, so prop 1, pick big, and the small one is prop 1, pick small, and they're all a ping image. However, again, you could use any format you want, whether you can use JPEG, for example. Also, these images that I'm using are copyright free, so I'm going to have the source code below, so you can feel free to use these images if you want. Okay, so I'm just going to drag this into a new window. Now I'm just going to drag all these images inside the images folder, just like that. Okay, so now we can start off now with our JSON data. So I'm going to go ahead back to my HTML document. Now usually with JSON data you might want to pull it into a separate file. However, in this example I'm just going to be showing you how to work with JSON data with the data inside the HTML document. I'm going to put it inside a script tag. Again, you could pull it in a new file if you want to. However, again, I'm just going to show you having it within the script tag inside the document. So I'm just going to do an opening script tag and a closing script tag. Okay, and now inside here, I'm going to start off with the JSON data. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to name it data. Okay, equal, do curly open bracket. Okay, so I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to name it, since it's a properties website, I'm just going to do properties. Okay, just like that. I'm going to close the speech mark. I'm going to do the following. Okay, it's not a curly bracket, it's just an opening bracket. Okay, so go, oops. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now first we're going to give it an ID. Okay, so the first one I'm going to call it, the first property will be called prop1. So again, there'll be a total of 7 properties. So this is going to be the first one. So again, we have our title properties. So here I would call this as, we'll say we could have this as attributes and entities. It works very similar to how a database would work. However, this is JSON. So prop1, that's the ID. And then we have a type. Okay, so for type, it's going to be whether it's a house or flat. So the first one, we'll have it as a house. And also you can look back to your images. If I go here, I can see that the first one, I would say it's a house. I'm going to have the type as a house. Okay. So another attribute we could have is bedrooms. Okay, I'm going to have this one will have, I'll say 3 bedrooms. And the one we're going to have is price. Okay, I'm going to have it as, let's just say it's 150,000. So that's just like that. Again, don't put the dollar sign in anything, just have it as the number. Okay, and for tenor, I'm going to have it, this one I'm going to have it as freehold. Okay, you can play about with these, so you maybe can remove price if you don't want the price, you can remove the tenor if you don't want the tenor. Again, it's up to you. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to include a description. Okay, just like that. So now I'm just gonna write something. I'm just gonna write attractive 3-bedroom semi-detached. Let's do family home. Okay, I think I'm just gonna leave it as that just for now. Again, you can expand on this. Okay, location. I'm gonna have, again, this is all up to you, so I'm just gonna have it as okay, let's do Petswood Road, Petswood, Orpington. Okay, now the picture. Here I'm going to put the file path to the small picture, not the big one, but the small one. So it's going to be images. That's going to be prop1. We need pick small as with a PNG image. Just like that. Okay. So now the URL, we have, so each property will have its own URL. So there's 7 properties. So we're going to have a total of 7 URLs. So we haven't created them now. However, I will create a properties folder. Whoops, I will create a properties folder. I will name it, let's do, look at capital P, property1.html. So each property will be property2.html, property3.html. This time will be property1. Okay. And now we'll have the date it was added. So I'm going to do, so some properties were added quite a while back, some properties just added now. I'm going to do added. Okay, this is a bit different. I'm just going to do a open curly bracket and a closing curly bracket here. Because with added, we're going to have month. This one will be, so January. We're going to have day, which is 12. and we're going to have year, and we'll do 2014. Okay, just going to move the space here. So after this, I'm going to do another curly bracket. This one's going to be for this one. So I'm going to do another one over here. I'm going to do comma. So now after this comma, you do an opening bracket, and again over here you would write your data for the second property and for the third property. So just to show you again, so what I would do is I would just copy from here, paste it here, so this time it will be prop 2. This time we'll have it as a flat, we'll have it as 2 bedrooms. The price I'll have it as, let's do 299,995. The tenor again we'll leave it as freehold. I'm gonna remove this description. I'm just gonna have it as, we may use all of these, we may not use all of these. Let's do presented in excellent decorative order throughout. The description will be much more longer than this. However, again, you can expand it depending on your preference. Location, I'm gonna change this as well. I'm gonna have it, let's do Crofton Road. Again, we'll have it in Orpington, postcode BR6. Picture again, it's not going to be prop 1 pixel, it's going to be prop 2 pixel. Again, the URL, we're soon going to create a property 2 HTML folder. And the added, I'm going to have this time month. I'm going to have it as September. Again, you can mix and match with these. Let's not 12, let's do 14. And the year, again, I'll just leave it as 2014. Just that so. And again, I'm just going to continue doing this until I have a total of 7 properties. And also what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to extend the descriptions because I feel like they're too short. However, again, it's up to you. Okay, so I've added all 7 properties, and as you can see, I've extended the description over here, but it's the same way. So I've added all the same attributes on each property, just like that. Again, making sure the pictures, we choose the small pictures and they change as well, and also the URL, we're going to have a total of 7 pages later. So I've added 7 HTML property documents, just like so. So just to close this JSON data, we have a bracket and a curly bracket, and this closes here, so we have the bracket and the curly bracket. And again, this JSON data, I'm going to link all the source code inside my GitHub, so you can download the source code and view the source code yourself rather than having to write this yourselves. Okay, so now the JSON data is ready, and again we've closed it with a closing script tag, and also as you can see with the date added, I've also made them very different. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now create the jQuery UI elements which the user will play with to get their property. So things like a spinner, we're going to have a drop down, and again all this is through jQuery UI. Okay, so the first I'm going to do, okay, is we'll have a selection so the user can select a minimum bedroom and a maximum bedroom number. So for this we're going to have 2 input fields, so one for minimum bedroom and one for maximum bedroom. So that's the first one we're going to do. So I'm going to create a div class inline. Okay, I'm just going to create h3. I'm going to name this min bedrooms. I'm going to close the h3. I'm going to have an input again. Okay, an ID. I'm going to name this, I'm going to name it spinner. So you can like select, I'm also going to name it spinner. Again, it's up to you. And the default value, which is going to be inside the input, I'm going to have it as 3. So 3 bedrooms. Okay, I'm just going to create another H3, and now this one's going to be for the maximum bedroom. I'm going to have it max bedrooms. I'm going to close the H3, and again input ID. I want to name this one spinner 2, and again the value which will be inside the box, again I'm going to have it also as 3. Again, you can change this. I'm just going to have this as a div. So now we'll have 2 input jQuery UI fields. So if I save this, I'm just going to go and open it up in Chrome just to see how it looks. And there we go, we have our minimum and a maximum. As you can see, they're not jQuery UI elements, but they're basic input fields. The way I'm doing this is slightly different to how maybe others would do it. Some people might, with the HTML, they will go straight into jQuery UI and add it within. However, I'm going to do it slightly differently. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to create a new JS document, so a new JavaScript document. So File, New. I'm just going to create a JavaScript document. I'm going to click Create. Okay, I'm just going to save it into the same place. So I think I'm just going to save it outside here, and I'm going to name it. jQuery A. Just like that. I'm going to save that. Okay, so now inside here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the code which will make this turn into a jQuery UI element. Again, people might say this is the more complicated way, however this is the way that I like to do it, and also I feel like this way is much more easier when it comes to extracting the data from the input fields to then pushing it onto an if statement to see the match of the properties. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start off with a function. Okay, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to do, if you look here, we see that we named the ID of the first one spinner. I'm just going to remove this. I'm just going to have it spinner. I'm just going to close it, and now I'm going to do dot spinner. Okay, this is the name of the jQuery UI element of the input field. It's called a spinner. I'm just going to open up my function. So now I'm going to have the minimum and the maximum. For the minimum that the user can do is 0 bedrooms. I'm going to have the maximum is going to be 12 bedrooms. And also, if you look at our JSON data, actually if you look at my JSON data, the maximum bedroom that you can have is 12. I'm just going to have 12. And now I'm going to do spin function event UI. I'm going to do this. Oops. Dot change, just like that. I'm just going to close this now. I'm just going to close this one. I'm just going to close this one. I'm going to close it again. Just like that. So now, what I'm just going to do also, I'm just going to copy this. So this one was for this spinner, was for the minimum value. So this ID is linked this ID, and I'm going to create another one for the maximum value. So if you look here, this one's spinner 2. Just going to go back here and name this one spinner 2. Again, minimum and maximum, we'll leave it, so 0 and 12, and again we'll leave everything the same. So now if I save this, now I'm just going to link the jQuery document that we created here, the JS document. I'm going to link it. So that's again what I'm going to do script src. I named it jQuery A with a capital Q. Oops, with a capital Q. So okay, jQuery A .js, just like that. Just going to close it. Just going to close the script tag. So this will link here. So if I save this document now, okay, so I'm just going to go back here. If I refresh the page, you can see now that they have turned to jQuery UI elements. Here we have some design issues with so it's a bit hidden, the arrows. However, this tutorial is not focused too much on the design. It's going to be focused on the elements itself and how to create a search using JSON data. So I'm just going to leave this as how it is. So now we can see here, this is the minimum. So the user might choose 2 bedrooms up to 6 bedrooms, just like that. And now, as you can see, they're now jQuery UI elements. Again, you can tell I've made it. This is very different to how you would usually do it. How this is the way I like to do it. And also here, as you can see here, it takes the value. So every time the user changes the value, it changes the value and it takes it. And then you will see how we then will take this data and we'll send it off to then create an if statement. Okay. So now we have this. Okay. So now the second thing we're looking at is for the property type. So since we have flat and houses, and also the user might want an option to select both a house and a flat and look at the search results, for this we're going to create a drop down. So I'm going to do a similar thing. What I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to do a title. I'm just going to have it as property type. I'm just going to close the H3. Okay, and I'm just going to create a drop down menu in HTML, just like how we usually do using HTML language, and again using jQuery will then transform it into a UI element. So just how you would usually do it. So select name, I'll name it property. We'll give an ID again, so we can take it from the jQuery. Again, I'm just going to also name it property. Okay, so now we have our option values. So one of the option will be a flat. It's going to close it. It's going to have flat. It's also going to close the option. The second option value will be house. And the third which we'll have is any. We're going to have any here. Also I'm going to do is going to have any to be the selected one, so the default one. So that's the first thing the user will be presented with is any. Now I'm just going to close the select. Just like that. Just going to clean that up a bit. Okay. So now if I just put this bit down. Okay, so now if I save this and refresh the page, as you can see here we have a normal drop down with any being the selected one. So similar as we did here, we're going to have this to be a jQuery UI element through JS. Just going to go here. Okay, we're going to create now another function. I'm going to have this one property. So I'm just going to copy this so I don't have to write it again. Okay, just like that. I'm also going to copy, I actually want to write it myself. Okay, So I'm going to do, so we named the ID property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, this is called property, and then the element for this through jQuery UI is a select menu, just like that. I'm just now gonna close it like that. So again, so property is through the ID of property here, and again, so here we have the spinner, which is the plus, which is the arrows, which you can change the values, and here we're using the jQuery UI select menu. So if I now save this and refresh the page, you can see it uses the jQuery UI now. Also, again, there's no arrows here or anything. The focus here is not on the design again, like I said, it's focused on just the jQuery UI elements itself and getting it through JSON. However, with CSS you can improve this and also add some buttons, etc., and modify it. This is what we have so far. Okay, so now we've got the minimum and the maximum bedrooms, we've got the property type, and now what I'm going to also add is the time added. This is so as you can see here, we've got the type, we've got the bedrooms. Time added, as you can see here, it's more complicated, so let's just play about with that and see what will happen. So we have added, and then within added we have month, we have the day, and we have the year. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to create again, I'm going to create here a div. I'm going to name it time. Again, I'm going to have h3, I'm going to have it as time added. I'm just going to close the h3. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is it's going to be similar to here in terms of a drop down. So I'm going to have select name, I'm going to have it as time, and ID as time also, just like that. So here we had property and ID property. Again, very similar here, we're going to have it as time. Okay, so now for the option values, I'm going to have January. Just going to close that. February. February wrong. March and April. Just like that. So I'm going to close it. So for this option values, we're going to have January, February, March, and April. And inside here, I'm going to type in January to April, just like that. And also, I'm going to add 2014 since we're going to base it on the year 2014 just for now. I'm going to have it 2014. I'm going to put these into brackets just like that. So I'm going to create the options. So the user can say that they want to see all the properties added between January to April. As you can see here, we've added January, February, March, and April here as option values. Okay, so if we just go down, you can see all the dates here. I've put very, very different dates. Okay, so now I'm going to create another option value, and this one's going to be May, June, July, and August. just gonna close this. I'm gonna have it now here from May to August. I'm gonna close that. Again, similar here. Option value September. October. November. And December. Again here I'm gonna have September to December 2014. Okay, and the last thing, since we've got all the dates now, what if he doesn't mind? He doesn't mind if it's added in January, and he doesn't mind if it's added in December. So I'm gonna have now is an option value, again very similar to here. So can't see, so option value, and I'm gonna have it as any time. I want to have this one the selected one. And again, as any time. I'm now gonna close the select. I'm gonna close the div. So again, let's just save this and refresh the page. You can see here now we have time added, just like so. So again, let's just convert this to a jQuery UI element. So again, we do this a very similar thing. We get the function. So I'm going to create a function. I'm going to copy this. I want to copy all of this. It's going to be the same thing. I'm going to change this to time, just like that. If I click save, see now we have the property type, and we have here. So now we have the minimum bedrooms, maximum, the property type, and the time added. And that's how we're going to leave it for now. Okay, you can add more if you want. However, I'm going to have it to this 4. So now the last thing that we need now is a search button. So when the user clicks on search, the results will appear. Just going to go here. I'm going to create a button. So button, we're going to give an ID name. I'm going to name it search. It's as search. I'm going to close it just like that. Okay, so if I just go here, we have our search button. But just before that, what about the price? What if the user wants to say that they want a certain amount of price? What if they want a cheaper price, or moderate price, or maybe they don't care about the price? So I think what we should have an option for the user to change also their price. So to do this, I think we're going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a H3. I'm going to name it as price range. Just like that. Okay, so now what I'm also going to have is inside, what I'm going to do is outside here, I'm going to create a class. I'm going to name it as box. I'll show you why I'm doing this. Okay, now inside here, I'm going to have an input type text. I'm going to have the ID as the amount. I'm going to have it as a read only, and I'm going to give it a class, and I'm going to name it gold slider text, just like that. I'm going to close the P, and now I'm going to have a div ID. I'm going to name it slider range. So I'm going to close this div. So I'm just going to save this and refresh the page. So here we have a price range. We have an input field which you can't see, it's read only. And we have a search box which we created before. So now we're just going to transform this slider, this price range to a slider, so the user can choose the amount. And I'll show you why we did this. This is so that when the user selects the amount through the slider, they can see the amount displaying, the price displaying. So if we just show you how we'll do this, it's more complicated. However, I do think it is quite a cool way. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a function, just like that. And it's called slider ranger, or slider range. Okay, so I'm going to do dot slider. Okay, I'm going to have it range as true, just like that. Okay, the minimum price that I'm going to have is the minimum price from the JSON data, which my one is 249,500. So if I just go back here and double check, that is the minimum price. And the maximum price, I'm going to have it as 0.5000, just like that. Okay, now I'm just going to do, this is where some maths comes in. So I'm just going to do values. $75,300. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to input the function, so slide function event UI. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is we're going to get whatever is in the slider value, and we're going to put it inside the input field. If I just go here, we're going to put it inside the input type amount. So I'm going to get this ID now. So again, I'm going to call the ID. So whatever we get here from the minimum max, whichever range the user chooses, will display inside here. So amount dot value, because I want to use the British pound, just like that. I want to do plus UI dot value 0. And then I'm going to do, whoops. Then I'm going to do plus again, so I want to do minus, I'm going to copy the dollar sign again, the pound sign, I'm sorry. I'm going to do plus again, UI dot values 1. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting the minimum value, and here I'm getting the maximum value. Okay, just gonna close it like that. Just gonna close the curly bracket. I'm just going to close it again. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to create another function, not a function, but I'm going to call the amount ID. Dot val, call the dollar sign again. So it'll be the dollar sign, and then inside this input field, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the slider range ID, slider range, oops. I want to do dot slider values 0. Again, 0 is the minimum. So I'm going to do plus, oops, again slider ranger, I'm going to do values just going to close these now. So I'll close this. I'm going to close this. So here, as you can see here, the 0 represents the minimum value and the 1 represents the max value. And then inside the amount ID, here we're going to show the value. So if I just save this, I'll show you. Okay, save. Okay, sorry. Okay, so if I just go here. Okay, so here you have the price. So if I just drag the slider ranger, as you can see, when I drag this one, the price here increases. So this is 1. And if I drag this slider ranger, this slider range, the minimum value increases. And inside here, this is the input field that we created, the read only. So it's not edited. So if I between this value and this value, that's this value and this price value. So we have the minimum price and we have the maximum price. So if we look back at our code, we have the minimum price, we have the maximum price. Again, we're getting the minimum and we're getting the maximum. And inside here, inside the input field, that's what we're displaying the value, whatever's inside the minimum, so the first slider, and whatever's inside the second one, the second slider. And we're displaying it here, just like that. And you can see the user can't go more or stop. And same goes, you can't take the maximum value and go here or stop. Again, it would be nice to improve this and have it make it all look really nice and pretty. However, again, this is not the purpose of the video. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to make the search button, just go a bit down because it's too close. Okay, just like that. I'm just going to save it. Okay, so now here, as you can see, we have our search button. Now what I'm going to do now is we need to create a div. And inside this div will be where all the data will be displayed, so the search results. So I'm just going to have here I want to have a div ID. I'm just going to name it placeholder. So inside here is where the search results will display. Okay, just like that. Just going to save this. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my JS file. Okay, so now what we're going to do now is we're going to create a function here. This will be quite a big function, and inside here what we're going to do is we're going to get all the values for the selected, for example for the bedroom, for the property. We're going to put that inside into variables, and then we're going to have if statements and etc, etc. So what I'm going to do now is, as you can see here, the ID, we have it as a search for the button search. So if I go a little bit down here, I'm going to create a function. I'm going to have it a bit more close. Oops. Okay. I'm going to have it as search. Okay, dot on, and I'm going to do, this is a click. Oops, so on click, so when the user clicks it, I'm going to do open bracket. Okay, so now inside here, we're going to get the data from each of the jQuery UI elements. So first we're going to start off with the property. I'm going to create a variable first of all. I'm going to name this variable, so I'll go a bit down so you can see properly. I want to have this one called prop type. I'm going to do equals, and again the name of this, we named it the ID. If you look here, it's property, just like that. I'm going to get the value of it. Value meaning whether the user selected house, flat, whether the user selected they don't mind, so any. And now we're going to get the values for the minimum bedrooms and the maximum bedrooms. So as you can see here, we have spinner and spinner 2. So it doesn't, so as you can see here, let's go up quickly. We have minimum bedroom is a spinner and maximum bedroom is spinner 2. I'm just going to go down. I'm going to have, for the minimum bedroom, I'm just going to copy this to make it more easier. Okay, this one is spinner. I'm going to copy this now. This one is called max bedroom and spinner 2. So now we're getting the value of the property type, we're getting where the user selected for the minimum, if they selected 0, 1, 2, and we're also getting the maximum bedroom they selected, which could be 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay, so now we're going to get the time added the user selected. So again, I'm going to copy this just to make it more easier. I'm going to have it as date, the variable name, and then as you can see here, for the time added, we named the ID as time. I'm going to have it as time here as well. Now the slide arranger is a bit different, so I'm going to have two variables. One of them is called the minimum price, and this time I'm going to copy this only just to make it a bit more easy again. So it's called slider range, and then I'm going to do dot slider. So the minimum price, I'm going to do option values, and just outside the bracket I'm just going to have the 0. So 0, this means the minimum price value of the slider. So wherever the slider is, it will get the minimum value. And then similar with the maximum, I'm just going to copy this. When I name this max price, again it's very similar, except here when I have it as 1. Okay, so now that we've grabbed all the data, as you can see, we've grabbed the data also from here. So what I'm going to do now, okay, so I'm going to create now another variable. I'm going to call this one output. I'm just going to have it as an unordered list. This is so that it's a bit neat when it displays, and you can see exactly what's being displayed, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to do is it's a bit like a for loop. I'm going to loop around this JSON data. So to do this, what I'm going to do, for var I, I'm going to create a variable I in data dot properties. So where's data dot properties coming from? If we look at our JSON data is from the variable, so we named it data, and properties is the name of the JSON. So here we named it. So this could be seen as an entity, for example. This is properties. So we did data dot properties, just like so. So now we're going to loop around this JSON data, so the file or the script that we did inside the other document. And now we're going to create if statements. So the first if statement I'm going to do is I'm going to do if the property type that the user selected is the same as the data dot properties. I'm going to do I, since it's an array, so we're looping through it, dot type. Oops. So here we're saying if the property type the user selected, so loop round the data dot properties JSON, and if the property type is the same as the property type inside the JSON data, so as you can see here, we have type here, and we have type here. So if it is the same, and then we do or prop type equals any, or if the user selected any as an option. So if we go back here again, we can see that the option the user had, they can also selected any. So or if the user selected any, I'm just going to close this. Okay, so that's our first if statement. So the property type that the user selected, if it matches the type inside the JSON data, or if the user selected any. So that's the first one. And now what I'm going to do is going to create a second one. This is for the bedrooms. So we're going to do if the minimum bed that the user selected, so the minimum bedroom number that the user selected, if that is more or equal to the data, again similar, dot properties dot bedrooms, and this time we do and also the maximum bedroom number that the user selected, if that is less or equal to data dot properties I dot bedrooms. Again, we're going to close this. So again, here we're saying the minimum number, so we get the minimum number and we're also getting the maximum number. So if the minimum number is more than the data properties inside the bedroom field, if we look inside here, what it's going to do is going to look inside the minimum. It's going to take the minimum that the user selected. It's going to get the minimum that is the minimum and more, and it's also going to get the maximum bedroom number the user selected. And it's going to also find the maximum and get it, and also going to find the maximum bedroom and less than the maximum. So we're going to have the minimum and the maximum. So if the minimum the user chose was 3 and the maximum is 5, for example, what it will do, it will find 3 and 5, and we'll also find those in between. So now it's the time added. Again, it's very similar. So we do if date is the same as date dot properties I. So if it's the same as the month. So again, going back to the JSON data, as you can see, we had month, day, and year. I decided to go based on the month. This is because, as you can see here, our select menu option values were based on the month. However, you could base it on the year or the time, for example. This is why I'm targeting the month of what's inside the JSON data. I'm just going to close this. And I'm going to do or if the user selected anytime, which was also if you look here, an option value. So if these selected anytime, just like that. So again, if what the user date selected matches the month inside the JSON data, or the user selected anytime. And then last but not least is the price. So we do if data dot properties dot price. Again, very similar to how we did the bedroom. So if it's small or equal to the min price, as you can see here, we put the value of the user first, and then we did if this is more or equal to the bedrooms. However, here we're taking the property values and we're saying that if it is more or equal than the min price, the minimum price that the user selected, and then we do and data dot properties I dot price is less and equal to max price, the maximum price that the user selected. We're going to close this. So again, how here we compared it with, so how here we have the property first and we're comparing it. Here we're taking the price from the JSON data and we're saying that if the price is more than the minimum price that the user selected, and also if the price is less than the maximum price the user selected, we're going to display that data. So I'm going to do now, as we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 if statements. We need 4 opening brackets. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to output the results. I'm going to do output. I'm going to do plus and equals. I'm going to create a H2 statement. So you can do this inside the JS document. I'm going to create a list just so that you can just tidy things up when it's displayed. I'm going to have the $sign. So the first I'm going to display is the price. So the user can see the price in the search results. I'm going to do plus. I'm going to do, oops. I'm going to do quickly, I'm just going to copy this $sign. Just like that. So first what we're going to do is we're going to display the price. So we're going to do now plus. We're going to get the matching data from the if statement. So we're going to first of all get the matching price. So again, it loops around here, and if it matches these results, we're going to display the matching results. So first we're displaying the price using this pound sign at the front, and after we've displayed the price, we're also now going to close this line. I'm going to close also this H2. So this is 1. This is the price. It will be like a title. I'm just going to close this. And now we're going to display the image of the property. So again, I'm just going to do opening bracket. I'm going to do the image tag. So src equals, just like that. Now I'm going to display the image. So again, similar, I'm going to do data dot properties I dot picture, and now I'm just going to close it with the tag, with the closing tag of the image, just like that. And I'm going to have a p tag, oops, just like that. And then inside the p tag, I'm going to have the description of the property, just so the user can display the description of the property. You can also display the location if you want. You can display, it's up to you what you want to display here. I think I'm going to display the description just to show you how it looks. So plus data, oops, not description, data dot properties dot description. I'm going to close the p tag. Just like that. And create now. So now we've displayed the price, the matching price from the if statement, so any matching result. We've displayed a picture, we've displayed a description, and now how we had here, so if you look at the JSON data, we had the URL. So we want a button to appear under each search result. So when the user clicks that button, it will direct them to the actual page of the property. So to do this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a button, just like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the anchor link, I'm just going to close it. Now inside here, I'm going to do data dot properties, and I'm going to target the URL. So you can see here inside JSON, we have the URL. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close, yeah, I'm just going to do plus. I'm just going to close this. I'm just going to close the anchor link, just like that. I'm just going to have visit page, close the A, I'm also going to close the button. I'm just going to close everything and have a semicolon. So as you can see here, we outputted the price, a picture, a description, and now here we're going to have a button. Inside the button will be a link, and when we click on that link, it will go to the URL of the image. So we're going to create some pages, so when the user clicks on that button, it will direct to each of the properties. So visit page, I've just closed it just like that. So now what I'm going to do is, since we had 4 if statements, I'm going to have 4 closing tags. Just we had 4 opening tags, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 closing tags, just like that. And now, because over here we opened the output, we opened a UL tag, we're going to close this now. So what I'm going to do output plus equals, we're going to close the UL tag, just like that. And now, because we want to pull it, remember when we created this placeholder, we want to put all our data, the search results, inside here. So I'm going to do document dot get element by ID, and inside here we're going to have placeholder. You don't have to have the hash for the ID, since we're getting the element by the ID itself. So just like that, and then dot inner HTML, so in the HTML document, just like that, and then equals output. So wherever is inside the output here will go inside the placeholder. What I'm going to do now, we're going to close all this. So what we need to do is just close 2 of these. And there's an error here. I forgot to put a comma. Okay, so we have a syntax error on line 69. Okay, I think I'm also missing one bracket here. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and also don't forget we have to close this for each loop, just like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna save this. Okay, so now let's run this and see if it works. Okay, so I'm gonna select minimum 1, maximum 11, for example. We'll select quite a big price range. Do search. Okay, there seems to be a problem. So I'm gonna go back to my code and just see maybe if I had a spelling mistake. Okay, I can already see one. This should be data, not date properties. So data.properties. Data is the variable of the JSON and properties is the attribute name. Entity name, sorry. So I'm going to save this. Could that be the error? Let's just check. Okay, so I'm just gonna, again, quite a big price range. Okay, we also still have an error here. Okay, let me just, what if I swap this around? Let me just double check. Okay, they appear. Okay, I'm just going to go back to my code. Okay, as you can see here, there's a mix-up between the maximum bedroom number and the minimum bedroom number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have spinner here to be the maximum bedroom. And over here, I'm going to have this one to be the minimum bedroom. So I think this was my error. There was a mix-up with the code. Also, so let me just double check and see if that works. So if I do minimum 1 and maximum 8, for example, and there you go, we have our search results. So let's do more cheaper price, for example, and do search. You can see that it works. Okay, what about property type? We want only houses. We only have one house with that price range. Okay, and what if we want a flat? We get 2 flats with that price range. And as you can see, here I displayed the price, the picture, the link to the, as you can see, if I just hover over it, you can see it goes to properties and the property2.html. So if we go back to our JSON data just to check, we can see here inside the properties, inside the URL, it goes to the properties folder and the name of the HTML document, which we will create. Okay, so what else could we try? Let's try the time added. We want it added in between May and August. Nothing has been added on that date. Let me just increase this maybe and have this as any. So between September, there's a property. How about January to April? There is a property as well. So successfully, we have a working property search website. Let me just refresh it. So again, the problem is there was a mix-up, which is quite strange, between the spinners, so I just swapped them around. However, now, as you can see, it works. So now, if I just minimize this, so if I just create a search, so if you click search and nothing appears, that means nothing matches the search results from the JSON data. So I'll just increase this, for example. So now what happens is when we click one of these, for example, of course file not found because I said that the URLs will be inside the properties folder. So what I'm going to do is just inside here, I'm going to create a properties folder. Just like that. And now inside here, I need to create 7 HTML files. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new HTML file. Okay. I'm going to go create. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it inside the properties folder which I created. I'm going to save it as property1. And the name, I'm going to have it as the same that I had it inside the JSON data. So the first property is property1. Just going to save it. I'm going to give this page a title as property. Okay, and inside the body, I'm going to have an image. I'm going to select the big image. Just going to click open. Just going to close the tag and then click save. So if I go back here and refresh the page, so if I search for that property, as you can see, it's this one. So if I click on visit page, I'm directed to the page with the image. So what I can quickly do now is if I go inside the properties, I'll just copy property 2. I'm just gonna copy at least a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just gonna rename them. So I have this one as property 2. Oops. Yeah. This one I'll have it as property 3. This one will be 4. This one will be 5. Property 6, and last one will be property, whoops. Let's open it up again. Okay, and last one will be property 7. Just like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to open them in Dreamweaver. So where it says prop1, I'm just going to have them as 2. So I'm going to quickly open all of them. So I'm just going to open these. So property 1 is done. Property 7, save this. Property 6, I'll save that. Okay, 5. 4, 2, and I think we didn't do 3. Let's check that. Yeah. So 3. There you go. So what we did is we created a properties folder just like we specified here in our JSON data, and we named HTML file depending on what we named them here. So if I just go back here, okay, let me just start again. Oops, okay. So now we get our minimum, our maximum. So say for example you like this one, for example, click visit page, you'll be directed to that page. And again, you can have, for example, a back button, for example. However, for now, I'll just leave it as it is. However, I will put the source code for you to use the code and play around with the code, etc. Okay, so what we have today, so we've got our property search website. So you can choose a minimum number, you choose a maximum, property type, so for example a house, time added, let's do time added, we'll have it anytime, and you can click search and you are presented with the search results. So this was all done using HTML, we used jQuery, and we also used some JSON data, just like so. And again, so all this, so the price, for example, the picture and the description, including the URL, is all coming from the JSON, so nothing here was really hard coded. And also what you can do also, when you click on these links, it will direct you to the page. So let's just have a flat, for example, click on search. As you can see now, all the houses are gone and we're presented with the flats. So if you click on one of these, for example, it will direct you to the page, just like so. And again, so here's our JSON data that we used. We used a jQuery UI very differently to how people maybe would normally use it. However, I just made static HTML code and then I made it to a jQuery UI through a JavaScript, a jQuery file basically. So I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe for further videos. I'll be doing another video which will link to this, and I'll be showing you how to add the properties to your favorites and also remove from your favorites, etc. So thank you very much for watching.